All right, let's get into it. For what felt like forever, Starbucks was the undisputed king of coffee in China. But then, the giant stumbled. And what it did next? Well, it was a move that shocked pretty much everyone. Today, we're going to break down exactly how Starbucks pulled off one of the biggest counterattacks in modern retail.
You heard that right. The American icon basically handed over the keys to its entire China kingdom. And to really understand why, you first have to understand the war that they were losing.
Welcome to the Flow Tao Salon. For this analysis, we're digging into a fantastic report that came out in November of 2025 from the research group Social Research. They crunched months of data to figure out the real strategy behind Starbucks' stunning pivot in China.
So, let's jump right into the main event. The one move that signaled a massive change in how Starbucks was going to operate in one of its most critical markets.
So what happened?
In late 2025, Starbucks sold a 60%, that's a majority stake, in its China business to a major local firm called Boyu Capital. Now look, this wasn't just a partnership. This was them giving up control. A move they hoped would make the brand faster, more connected to the local scene, and honestly, just able to fight back.
And if you want to see just how big of a deal this was, just look at this chart. It tracks the social media buzz around Starbucks all year. You see that massive spike there in November? Yep, that was the announcement. It completely dwarfed everything else and kicked off a firestorm of debate about the future of coffee in China.
So, to really get why this was such a seismic shift, we've got to rewind the clock a bit and look at how Starbucks conquered China in the first place.
Okay, so back in 1999, when Starbucks first arrived, it wasn't really selling coffee, it was selling an idea. All through the 2000s, it built this massive empire on its famous third space concept, and by 2017, it was way more than a coffee shop. It was the symbol of a premium, middle-class lifestyle. And this right here, this was the magic formula. A comfortable social place, somewhere that wasn't home and wasn't work. It was an experience, it was a status symbol, and you paid a premium for it. And for nearly 20 years, man, it worked like a charm. But then, the ground started to shift. A totally new breed of local competitors popped up, and they could not have cared less about the third space. All they cared about was speed, a low price, and digital convenience.
And this is really the clash of two completely different worlds. You had Starbucks selling that premium in-store experience, and then you had these digitally native rivals like Luckin and Coty coming in hot with a totally different playbook. Super cheap coffee delivered right to your phone right now. They weren't selling a space, they were selling a quick, affordable caffeine fix.
And the result of that clash? It was staggering. For the first time ever, the combined number of stores from these aggressive local rivals shot past Starbucks' 8,000 or so locations. The king was officially under siege.
So, facing slipping sales and a bit of an identity crisis, Starbucks knew it couldn't just sit there. It had to fight back. So, let's break down their new playbook. Their counterattack was basically a four-pronged assault. Some really smart price adjustments, a much deeper dive into community marketing, these huge brand collabs, and of course, that massive shift in ownership we started with. First up, the price war. But Starbucks was smart about it. Around the middle of the year, they didn't just slash prices on everything. No, they strategically cut prices by about 5 yuan on popular non-coffee drinks, things like frappuccinos. It was a direct shot at pulling in younger, price-sensitive customers without cheapening their core coffee brand.
And hey, let's jump back to that social media chart for a second. See that first little peak back in June? That was the online reaction to the price cuts. It was the first real signal to the market that Starbucks was willing to get in the ring and play a different game.
Okay, next, they went hard on community. In September, Starbucks teamed up with Xiaohongshu, a super popular lifestyle social platform, to launch something called the Interest-Friendly Plan. The whole idea was to turn its stores from just third spaces into active hubs for the community.
And this was a really clever move because it plugged right into what people were already doing. This chart shows what users were posting about, and you can see store check-ins and social activities were already huge. So Starbucks just gave them an official platform and a better reason to do it. Super smart.
Step 3 was all about creating cultural buzz. Starbucks started doing these high-impact collabs, like a massive partnership with the legendary rock band Mayday. The goal was to connect with people on an emotional level, to generate some real excitement.
So the big question is, did it actually work? Oh yeah, absolutely. During that May Day campaign, stores in Shanghai that were part of it saw sales jump by as much as 20%. That is hard proof that the right collaboration can turn brand hype directly into cash.
So after that whirlwind counterattack, what are the big lessons here? Well, the social research report really boils it down to 3 crucial takeaways for any global brand trying to make it in a tough local market.
Okay, here they are. First, price smarter, not just cheaper. You have to pick your battles and compete on specific products without wrecking your premium image. Second, build communities, not just stores. Turn your physical spots into active hubs for people's passions. And third, and this is the big one, go local or go home. Deep localization isn't a nice to have anymore. It's everything, even if it means giving up some control.
So here's the most important point of all. This is so much more than just a story about coffee. What we've just broken down is a powerful, modern playbook. It's a guide for how legacy brands can adapt, fight back, and totally reinvent themselves when they're up against these fierce, fast-moving local competitors.
Which, of course, leaves us with the big, lingering question. With a new local partner calling the shots, a brand new playbook, and this wildly ambitious goal of growing to 20,000 stores, can this transformed, localized Starbucks actually reconquer the very market it created? One thing's for sure, the battle for China's coffee drinkers is really just getting started.